Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Talking Chess podcast with PM Chess. My name is Leroy Hodgson. I am Pen in PM Chess, and I'm joined with Ambrose.
Ambrose Amehu.
Amehu.
Yes.
When I saw your name, the Amex, I was like,
XO.
how will I say that?
You're not the only person. A lot of people have a challenge with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mason will be joining us soon, but we'll be starting the podcast now with Ambrose. He is the how will I describe your
I
title
think
with
to make life
Knightmares?
easy, call me tournament director.
Tournament director.
Yes.
Yes.
We still don't have a formal
Structure
yet, so at least you can go by tournament director. That
All
makes
right.
it safe.
All right. So let me start off by talking about you before we come and talk about Nightmares, because we are here to talk about Nightmares chess. But I want to talk about you and your journey in chess. Could you tell me more about it? Exactly did you get into the sport?
Okay. So the interesting thing is, growing up, I saw my father play chess. He has multiple chess sets at home. But funny enough, he never taught me how to play chess. So it was until I went to secondary school. I think it was in sixth form that one of my colleagues brought a chess set to school.
Which school is that?
That was Presec. I was in Presec Legon. So that was when I was like, oh, well, I've always had interest in this. I have older cousins who used to learn. I think my father taught them, and then they play with their friends, but I never learned from home. So I learned it from school, and the interest just stayed with me. And the addiction wouldn't go away. When I got to university, it even got worse and all that. Until I found myself one day being an executive member of the National Chess Association and all that.
But how exactly did you get introduced to the GCA and the professional chess scene?
Okay, so for GCA, I think I started playing in tournaments somewhere around 2007. So in 2014, when they were going to elect for another administration, for me, I felt like, okay, I wanted to give back to chess or do something more besides playing, because I don't even consider myself as a good player. So I said, okay, let me just help with administration, chess administration. I could be useful there. And so that is how I got in. So I actually stood for the national treasurer. And I think, I don't know how, but I managed to win. And then that is how I got in. So I served one term. It was from 2014 to 2018. And then I just backed out.
So I see, like we've had two guests already on this podcast. That is Dr. Kobna Idupoku,
Okay,
and
national
then
champion.
national champion, and the
Yes.
Tema Classic champion as well.
Exactly.
And we also had Philip Ameku,
Okay,
the president of
president.
GCA, and both of them all were self-taught, and you as well self-taught.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I remember from school when I learned how to play chess, I thought what I knew was all that chess had. Until I met people who just beat me 4-0, 3-0. Like I stood no chance. So at the point when I wanted to give up, I speak to other guys I know who play chess. They're like, look, guy, there are books. I didn't even know there were books. So they will lend you a book, they encourage you, and then they teach you a few things. So basically, you have to get hold of the books and then try and learn on your own. And then that is how we learn chess. We didn't even know that you can actually get a coach.
So, did you ever think of getting a true coach at some point in time, or you're just
I never thought about it because I always think I'm not a good player. I didn't want to waste any coach's time.
Oh, come on.
That is how I see
Ambrose,
myself.
come on. How can you think of yourself as not good enough?
So I knew I wasn't going to play chess like competitive. I didn't see myself as a professional chess player. So then I wouldn't bother going to the extent of getting a coach.
So yeah, thinking about that, is that something that you think people should look at in Ghana chess? Like, if you think you're not going to make it as a professional chess player, look for a different avenue. Like my brother, for instance, he's not going to. He seems not to. He wants to make it as a professional chess player, but he's realized that he's more interested in coaching, and because he has the knowledge of theory and all of that, so he thinks he could do more as someone who coaches the future generation. You think something like that should be done in, let's say, the Ghana chess space, where you get to a point where you realize that I cannot make it as a professional. So why don't I just focus on something else? Maybe administration, maybe being a coach and coach the younger generation? What's your thought on
Well,
that?
you see, I think it is a bit tricky. I
Mm,
think chess is a bit tricky in the sense that I see everything about chess as long term. Even your chess development, you don't wake up one day and you are the grandmaster. It takes a while. It takes you about 10 years to become a grandmaster
mm,
and all that. For the opportunities in chess, we probably may not be seeing them now. But at the time when the opportunities avail themselves, you probably have to be ready. It will probably take you 10 years to be ready. So because people may not see the opportunities, they probably will not apply themselves to it. So sometimes when you can't see them, you are not too sure where you want to go. But there's a future.
mm.
There's a future.
So so basically you're saying we shouldn't you wouldn't recommend that, or you're saying that they should wait for a couple of years before coming to that decision.
So, for instance, if you realize you have the talent,
Mm.
I think you should develop it alongside something
But
else.
if you don't realize you don't have the talent,
Um, you can still learn chess for fun anyway. No, you
yeah.
see, the thing is, you really need to invest some time in chess. I always say that if you want to be a master in chess, you should be able to invest at least 2 hours every day.
Mm.
That's some time. That's this modern day, especially when you meet the kids, they are so bogged down with everything. They are going for swimming lesson, they
Yeah.
are learning coding, they are
Yeah.
learning the musical instruments. The parents are throwing the kids at everything at them, so they can barely create that kind of time. So that's the kind of challenge. So unless the person has that passion for chess, then he can actually devote that time, and then you also get the support of the parents.
Mm. So speaking about the upcoming generation,
Yes,
we've seen that these kids very talented.
yes,
We've seen Dave compete in the
the
nationals.
opens,
Yeah, the nationals, the final phase of the competition.
exactly.
He's been making a name for himself, not only in Ghana but also
Of course, yes.
across the continent and the world as well. So, like, what do you make about this generation? Do you see them becoming the foothold for us to take
Absolutely.
away?
Absolutely.
Mm,
And for me, I keep telling the executives there should be a lot more focus on the younger generation. Because that's the future of Ghana chess. Because most of the people we have now, they try to combine chess with work and all that.
Semi-pros.
So exactly, they're semi-pros. And you can and sometimes it feels like they have blocked. People have been in the rating of about 1,900 for the past 6 years. You can't see the growth coming from anywhere. So I think if we focus on the younger ones, definitely the story is going to change.
Mm. But I hear that my brother likes to say this a lot, and that is about our rating, being Ghana being completely underrated, and that we should be. He believes that our 2,000 rated players or 1,900 rated players should be higher rated than they are. What do you think about that?
Ideally, it makes sense in the sense that rate changes. It's more well, it might not be accurate, but it's more like a zero sum game in the sense that when you are winning, you're actually taking from somebody because he has lost. So in that vein, you both may have improved, but once you enter a tournament, somebody takes rating from another person. So once you are losing, even though you have improved and your strength is probably higher than what you have now, if you lose a game, your rating will still drop.
Mm.
So that those are the limitations with regards to the kind of rating system. But well, that's the best rating system we have now. So I guess we can't change it. So until something better comes up.
Still speaking about the kids, what do you think the highest rating, or let's say, do you see them getting to grandmaster level?
I will not write that off.
Mm.
I will not write because, for instance, I watched the Richardson brothers within a short
That's Mauli and
time.
Malto, right?
Mauli and Malto Richardson. Yes, I saw them and I was amazed. I see them at one point showing up for a tournament. The next time I see them, they're actually beating people who are even in the top 10, and that's remarkable.
Mm, mm, mm.
And that for me, that is the future of chess because they still have steady chess. They have the time to study, like the semi-pros that we mentioned. Yeah, so definitely, as long as they're growing, we should look out for them.
Mm. Now let's come to nightmares. Can you tell me how exactly did nightmares form?
If you ask me dates, I'll be in
Oh
trouble.
no, I'm not going to ask you this. I
Okay,
just want to
good.
know how it formed.
All right. So for Nightmare, as far back as I can remember, I don't know how I got that information, but there was somebody who owned a pub, the real McCoy in
Mm,
Community One, and he plays chess. So, in a way of trying to get his pub to be active, he started this Sunday chess thing in his pub. So, like, word goes out to all the guys who play chess in Canada, there's chess on Sundays, and chess is such that sometimes you may not even know that your neighbor plays chess. because like there's you don't have people making noise about it. So once that announcement came out, like quite a number of us just found our way to that place. Yeah, and we were playing there. I think it was just for some few weeks. Suddenly, people stopped coming. There weren't many people, so the momentum kind of died down too quickly. But then when I went there the first day, I met a couple of guys. I think there were four. There were three of them: Edward Susu, Victor Ashiagbe, Emmanuel Haji, and then Gideon Makwi. Yeah, there were four of them. And they are from Community 7. I'm from Community 8. And Community 7 is closer to Community 8. And it's more like the other side of Tema. So we all travel all the way to Community 1 to go play chess. And then now the momentum had died down. We're like, then if we are all close by, why do we need to travel here? Why can't we just do something where we are? And so we started meeting, and they were all in Community 7. So I just drive off to their place. And then we meet there and then we play. So in a way, that is how Knightmare started. Okay. So after a couple of years, we're like, look, this is a chess club, because there were other people who now started coming to join us play there in Community 7. So we decided to give it a name. We deliberated on a few names and then eventually we settled on Knightmare.
So why did you settle on nightmares? I'm actually curious. I've been curious about that for a while.
So you see, I think chess is a gentleman's game. People don't even speak to each other when they are playing. Like it's too quiet. But in other sports, there is this bit of taunting when they are going to meet your opponent. Like the boxing, they do it. Like even in I think rugby. You have all this.
I've gotten what it was called.
They have this very interesting. How you have
I think it's HAKKA.
haka. Yes, the haka that they do in chess. So we're like, okay, in a very subtle way, let's find a way we can taunt our opponents. And so that is how come.
So you are Knightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
So who came up with it?
I think it was Emmanuel Haji. I can't be too sure, but I think it was Emmanuel Haji. Yeah.
Well, now that the club was formed, what exactly was the vision for Nightmares? Was it to just a couple of friends, let's just meet up, play, or there was a vision attached to the club as well?
So initially it was like, okay, an avenue for chess players to meet and then just enjoy the game that they like was more of it. But as time went on, we're like, no, we can do more than that. Maybe we should even find a way of teaching chess, selling chess to the community, and then eventually we're like, okay, why don't we even start hosting a federated tournament? And at the time when we thought about this, I think it was a huge task. It was close to impossible because first of all, we had just had one rated tournament in Ghana at the time. That was the President's Cup. That was the first federated tournament, and it looked like something that was far-fetched for Ghanaians to play in a federated tournament. You had to travel out of Ghana. So once the President Cup was hosted, we're like, yeah, why can't we also do this in Tema? So that was mainly some of the things that we decided to do. Like, okay, so and then we did it and it happened. A lot of things happened though, but it still happened.
Yes, you organized a competition. You had your first winner, Lionel, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Then you had the second one, which had Aquanda winning. Both tournaments all had Ghanaians participating. Then the third tournament came.
Exactly.
And then foreigners started coming. Exactly. What exactly changed?
Okay, so I think the tournament was becoming more attractive. So we now had international participation. We had people coming from Nigeria, from Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, I think even Sierra Leone, and Liberians also. So now, and these people were much stronger players. So of course, it became more competitive. And so from that time, consistently was won by foreigners.
Yeah.
Until this year, where finally, I'm being biased, but hey, finally, what I've been hoping for. And Ghanaian has been managed to win the Tema Classic. Yes.
Edupoku did as proud. But people would say that this year it seems like there was a lack of, and other than the previous years where there were a lot more participation from foreign.
I could say so too, because we had only one Nigerian this time. In the past few years, we had quite a number of them coming in. So, and when the Nigerians show up, it's definitely very competitive. So maybe that was our luck.
Would you say luck? Why would you say luck? But one thing about Nightmares that I have to praise is the organization of the tournaments and the way you are able to find money and a huge prize. Sometimes you have sometimes you have the biggest prize pool of the year in terms of a competition, and you
Yes.
always seem to have uh, a lot of people backing you. So it's like, how do you get these
Okay.
sponsorships?
So it didn't start like this.
Mm,
Sometimes it amazes me how far we have come, but we just finished the eighth Tema Classic.
yeah,
So consistently, every year we try to put out a tournament. So I think it's the consistency to that is helping write our story. So now we tend to get people who are like, look, we've been doing this thing and it is growing. You better be a part of it, more or less. The first Tema Classic, this is how we raise our funds. So we had actually won, Knightmare won the national team championship.
yeah,
So the prize money that we won was our
prize
initial
money.
seed money.
What?
Then
Really?
we now tasked members of Knightmare to contribute. So we had some members contributing, we added that. We still didn't have enough. So we actually printed envelopes and they were moving around, family and friends, getting whatever we get to add. That is how we raised funds for
Mm,
the first tournament.
wow.
Yes. But it was a passion, so it wasn't like you won the tournament, we were splitting the funds right there. No, because we had already said we're going to host the tournament. It was like, okay, yes, now that we have this, let's make it happen. So let's put this money down and then let's build on it, and then eventually we're able to. So luckily we spoke with SOS. The principal gave us their hall for free.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And then we did that. We got a caterer to provide refreshment, and all those things. And then we had the. And at that time, you'll be surprised to know we had to import an arbiter from Nigeria because Ghana didn't even have a FIDE arbiter. We didn't have an international arbiter. And for a FIDE rated tournament, that was like the minimum, one of the minimum requirements. You
Mm,
needed
mm, mm, mm.
a minimum of a FIDE arbiter. Yeah. So we had to import an IE from Nigeria to come and arbiter our game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's didn't start off with
No, no, no,
huge
no, no,
backing. It
no, not
just
at all. Not at
wow.
all.
So how did you get to that point where you can have people like KGL,
Yes,
you can
Jade and
have
Quincy Real
yeah,
Estate.
yes,
And we even had Alisa Hotel giving us massive support. We
yes.
had Mobius Architecture also coming on board. They have been last year, they supported the seventh, and then this year, too, they give us massive support. And then I always want to mention Julius and Regina Richardson, this couple. Oh my goodness. Not only are they giving us financial support, but then in terms of organization, they are with us. They're helping basically throughout from beginning to end.
Who exactly are they?
I maybe I want to call him an enthusiast, and if you will be surprised to know those are the parents of Mowley and Malta Richardson.
Mm, mm,
Yes,
mm.
so and they happen to be friends of mine anyway. Yeah, so I spoke to them and said, look, guys, we are trying to grow this Tema Classic. I need support. And they said, why not? Yeah, and then that is it. So
I was actually thinking that the club has members who are very very connected. That's how you're able to get these funds. But it seems like it is not like that. You worked hard to get
yeah,
where
we
you
had to
are.
we had to work hard. Yes, there's also Mr. Ababio. They said with Ababio, he's also a member of the Knightmare Club, and he also he brought on actually KGL, and he brought on Jade and Quincy.
Mm-mm.
Yes. Okay, so it's like we task members see wherever I can bring funds. So we set up like a committee that is in charge of sponsorship. They said, guys, go out and then make this happen. And then by His grace, things work out.
So speaking about all of this generation of funds and sponsors for a competition, it seems like it's something that the GCA and other clubs seem to struggle with. What exactly do you think their problem is that you are not you have been able to solve?
Okay, so interestingly, I've also been in GCA
Mm,
as an executive.
yeah.
And in fact, I was in charge of finance. Okay, and we roamed across Accra trying to raise funds. And even though we were able to glean something, it was extremely difficult. But like I would say, I think it's how we tell our story for Nightmare. I think maybe I from what I learned from GCA, now I'm applying because what I do wrong, I'm like, okay, so now let's apply it. So it's how we tell the story. Right. We tell you, we make this thing is becoming big. It will not become small. You better be part of it when it's small, because when it becomes big, you probably may not be able to get the kind of benefit that will come with it.
Yeah.
So like and so Jade and Quincy, I think for the director, he has another company that has sponsored at one point. That was an MNB.
Mm,
And so this time it is another company of his That's so it's the same person anyway behind it, who actually give. So we have people who are supporting and they continue to support, and that's the beauty of it.
So,
Yes.
looking to the future, the way you are speaking, it seems like this is you're expecting this to become extremely big.
It scares me how what I see the future.
Mm.
It scares me. I'm wondering because what I'm expecting Nightmare to do in the next Tema Classic, maybe the ninth, or even especially the 10th. Our 10th is our 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
What I am visioning for Nightmare, it scares me sometimes. Like, hey, Ambrose, are you sure you're able to raise the funds for what you want to do?
Mm.
Yeah, I'm
Are we seeing electric boards throughout?
stuff like that.
Yeah.
International grandmasters showing up for the tournament
Yeah.
and all that. Those are the kind of dreams we're having. When we discuss them, I say, why can't we get grandmasters to participate in? Why can't it be an I am norm tournament? Like so we are dreaming big and we're expecting it to happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if I say Nightmare, sorry, if I say Tema Classics right now has the biggest chess tournament in Ghana, would you agree?
I I can agree. I can agree. In terms of numbers,
Mm.
in the last moment we had 29 people who registered for the open. Last year there were 34. Okay, I think we haven't broken the ceiling of 50 yet, but we're expecting it to be able to get into the hundreds in the near future.
Mm. 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 So
This particular year, I think it's because the Nigerians didn't show up. And from what I hear, there was another tournament in Nigeria just around the same time. So of course, that's probably maybe what hindered them from showing up. Other than that, I'm sure we're probably broken the ceiling.
yeah.
But so in the future, we're expecting it to grow bigger.
So I want to ask you this. I spoke to Philip Omeku.
Yes.
We had a podcast, and he revealed that he's planning on making the GCA more club focused,
Yes.
where the clubs will basically, should I say, call the shots? Not necessarily call the shots, but
I think that thing has always been Philip's vision. Sometimes he tries to push the agenda, but the clubs don't pull their weight, and then they tend to thwart his efforts and all that. But I think it's something that he should maintain because if he can if he can push that agenda, then the clubs will be a small, let's say, cellular units of GCA where you can get things happening because people are together. It's easier getting people who are together trying to get things done, than you being at the center trying to gather the whole nation together, kind of thing. So at least, even in terms of paying dues and all that, it can even be handled from the club level, and I'm sure it can be managed to assist the national federation. So for me, I always support the idea.
So, what makes you think that clubs? What exactly do you think about clubs coming in, disappearing, coming in, disappearing? What do you think the problem is? Why do you think these things happen? Because my brother was once talking to me about Dreamfort and how it seems to have fizzled out
Yes,
than its
yes,
from its
yes,
heyday.
yes. Well, it's difficult to pinpoint.
Mm.
So, for instance, I told you the story of the first Tema Classic,
Yes.
where we won the prize and then we knew where we're pushing the funds to. The following year, we see another club win the prize, and right before us, we see the team members sharing the funds. Okay, so maybe it is the focus of the people within the club. But sometimes what I always tell my people is, if we continue doing what we are doing, it's going to create the awareness for the other clubs to do like, look, I think this is the direction. So let's all take this direction, and then that should bring some change. Because until Dreamfort went down, Dreamfort was more like the competition for Nightmares. There were a couple of times that we've actually played competitions amongst ourselves. So we either go to Dreamfort and then we play 7 round or 6 round match, and then the next time after 2 weeks we also host them in Tema and then we play. We had that going, suddenly we really don't have any club that is giving us that kind of competition, but
What about Osu Chess Club?
how many members does Osu have?
You know this is going on, right?
How many members does Osu have? But also has some very good, strong players.
Yes, they
There's
do.
Lionel, there's Jamina, Akudazi, even Angela, and all they are there. We know. Well, you've given a suggestion. Well, we'll probably invite them. That could be our way of motivating them to also stand stronger. So maybe because at least Osu is also organizing tournaments. Like we're saying, once we started this thing, we realized that it can even boost some other clubs to also take up that initiative.
Mm.
Because other than that, in the past, we're all waiting for GCA calendar to come, and
Yeah.
then there will be the tournament that GCA would organize that to all. But like, if the clubs could even take this up, we can even ease off some of the pressure from GCA. So we'll get there.
Yeah. So speaking about clubs, what do you think about clubs when it comes to developing talent? Let's talk about nightmares. How does nightmares develop talents, find talent, and develop them to a level?
Okay, so basically, we're looking at it from three. We're looking at it from, let's say, three
Mm,
perspectives. The first one is if we're going competitive, like we're going for, of late, we don't have the national team championship anymore.
mm,
If we are going for national team championship, we need our core team that can represent the club. So then we train as a club, making sure that our people get better. So that is one side. Then the second side, the second perspective is okay, sending chess to the community and trying to get the people within the community to embrace chess. So that is so for Nightmare, we actually have two meeting days. There's a Wednesday meeting 6 p.m. and then there's a Sunday 4 p.m. So we're looking at okay, there are people who probably don't even live in Tema, but they work in Tema. And because they want to avoid traffic, we can accommodate them on a weekday. So that's why we have a weekday meeting. And then
mm.
those who also live in Tema, who at least want to play on a weekday. So 6 p.m. on Wednesday, that's your time. For the people who live in Tema, who work in Accra, have to deal with all the traffic, you probably may not be able to make it in time on a Wednesday. So then we have the Sunday meeting.
Mm.
So at least for the weekend, whilst you are in Tema, there's also the Sunday. Okay. So if you're lucky to have a schedule that you can actually do both Wednesday and Sunday, and you are enjoying, but at least we are trying to consider all that. So that is what we are looking at. We want to make chess available to the community, and it was it was interesting. It was through this we actually came across a group of people. I think there were about 6 to 10 of them who also play chess. We didn't know they were in Tema. We're like, hey, we have a club called Knightmare. We just merged them, and then it was growing. I think that was when we even had our second or third night Tema Classic. So we had them, and that's where Mr. Ababu, Edward Ababu, actually came from. And then Anthony Sosa and a whole lot of other guys. So that is it. So we once we put it out there, we try to get the community in. So you meet people, they're like, oh, I don't know how to play. I say, look, join us. We even add you to a WhatsApp group when you don't even know how to move any piece. Say, join us, come to our meetings, and then we teach you how to play. And then the third side we're looking at is the future of chess. So we're trying to get the kids also to okay. So there's something we started, but it was not successful at the beginning, but we need to look at it again. That was trying to take chess to the schools. Okay. The responses from the schools surprisingly was not what we were expecting. So at the end of the day, we couldn't really get them. Sometimes you go to a school, somebody says, "Oh no, we need you to write a long proposal." I'm like, "Oh no, we just want to teach your kids how to give." It's not like want to come and take money from and all that. But I think we need to re-strategize and go back with that. Yes, but then we have a handful of schools where some of our members are already teaching. Yes, okay, and then we have those who also do weekends for kids. Okay, so in a way, we are still so basically we look at it from the 3 points. Our competitive side, if it has to come to our tournaments, and then trying to open chess up to the community, and then also trying to develop the future of chess.
Mm. Because when I look at it, maybe I'm being blind to it,
Yeah.
but when I look at it, it seems like the places or the people developing the young side of chess are the schools, or should I say
Okay.
the international schools.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
just point it out there.
Okay.
The international schools and maybe mentors chess as well. They seem to be really bringing up
Yeah.
the young ones.
Mhm.
Or maybe I'm blind, maybe I'm not seeing the other people.
Okay.
Only other place I also have noticed is Basics International
Yes.
in Choco that have
Okay.
been
Okay.
teaching the
Okay.
kids. So sometimes I sit down and I'm like, so what do the clubs do in terms of bringing up talent? And it's always been in my mind that what happens when you are
Yeah.
going to what happens? Do you wait for the kids to be developed before you pick them up, or do you look for them when they are young and then train them? That's been
Oh, okay.
something that has
Yeah.
been on
Okay.
my
So,
mind
for
for a
instance,
while.
Mod. Mod is arguably the either number one or number two female.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mod. We picked her up. She was about 14 years, and we practically brought Mod up.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh,
So people,
I thought mod was more brought up by the Achimota Chess Club.
I more learned to play chess before she went to Achimota.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay,
So
okay,
Maud
okay.
at that time she was in Angels JSS in Tema.
Mm.
Yes, okay. So Maud is a nightmare, born and bred. Yes, yes. So by the time she got to Achimota, she was already a good chess player.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So there were days I actually go to Achimota school. Now I was a GC executive by then. I actually go to the administration. I'm like, we need more to go represent Ghana in Togo.
mm.
And then I write a letter, send it there, and then they allow me to take it. And then after the tournament, we'll bring it back. You know that if Maud has to go to Olympiad, we have to go
Yeah,
get
yeah.
permission and all that. Yeah.
Wow, that's another thing. The whole if we develop these talents, they'll be very good enough to go and compete in international tournaments.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly.
problem is, I did go to sacrifice. I want the
No,
idea.
but you know, we saw it. Was it last year or last 2 years? We
Mm,
had the team from Ghana
mm,
in, was it Kenya?
yeah.
And the performance was brilliant. I was amazed. I think for almost all the age categories that Ghana took part, practically number one was Ghana.
Mm.
Number one was Ghana. Malto Richardson, I think, was number one in his category. Chief was number one in his category. Who else? There were about four of them. So there weren't many Ghanaians, though we took just a few people. So we didn't have all the, especially we didn't have even females. But the few people that went, they were number one. I think Malto was probably number 4 or 5 in his
Yeah, I
category.
remember.
Yes, and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting that kind. So it tells us that we are limiting our children. We need to throw them into chess.
So do you think that these kids should be part of clubs?
They should be, definitely. They should be.
And
They should.
if they were to become part of clubs, what exactly would you, let's say Nightmares, let's say Malto, I don't know if Malto is part of Nightmares or not.
By default, Malto and Mali are part of Nightmare. If there's going to be any chess team championship, they should be playing for Nightmares.
What if the parents decide now we are
They
going
were
for
discovered that Tema Classic. That was a Sith Tema. Was it a Sith or Su Tema Classic?
Yeah.
Yes. So they are Nightmare members. The parents don't have any right to change class.
I hope you are listening to this. But when they join or when if
Yes.
they join, no, let me say when. No, let me not say where. If let me say when they join, what exactly is the program or the process Nightmares is going to take them through to make them into, let's say, IMs, GMs?
At this point, I think within Nightmare, I don't think we have anybody strong enough
Mm,
because they have developed their chess. They've done so well, and I think the parents have been very instrumental in getting them coaches to help them develop quickly. But those are the things that we considered. You know, some in our discussions, we're like we probably need to find a coach.
mm,
If this club is going to grow, we should get to a point where we can actually have a coach that will be able to guide and structure the development so that it will not be you don't have to go through a long winding route to get to where you have to go. Once you have a coach, you are guided. You know that you'll be making leaps and bounds in terms of your development. So
mm,
those are things that we are considering.
mm. All right. So let me ask you this: where do you see Nightmares in, let's say, 20 years from now? I'm going to say 20, not 10, because 10 there is is too short. It's too short. Let's say 20
I'm
years.
sure in about 5 years' time, the name will probably change to Knightmare International.
Ooh.
And
You're planning on going to other countries.
yes,
Ooh.
definitely. So probably in 5 years, it should be Knightmare International, where you probably have the club in other countries. In 20 years, let's wait till then.
Let's wait and see.
Let's wait till
Maybe a
then. Yes.
continental power by then.
Definitely.
Or a global power. Do you want a
Global
global
power. You
power?
know the words. Global power, definitely. Because there's nothing stopping us.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. All right. So that is how we bring the conversation to an end. Time now for the trivia section.
Okay.
That's my trivia book.
Okay. That I'm not born ready.
So let me start with an easy one.
Okay, good.
Who was the highest ranked? Nightmare has organized the thema classes for a very long time,
Yes.
and you have basically been the deputy. Is it deputy tournament organizer? Let me
Mm-hmm.
say tournament organizer of the competition for a while now.
Yes.
So I'm come to ask you, who is or who was the highest ranked Ghanaian at the fifth edition of the thema classics?
Fifth edition.
Yes. I also want his position.
And you call this easy?
Hey, you been the tournament organizer for a while. What?
Fifth edition.
Yeah, fifth edition. I decided not to pick first or the reset. What reset was I decided to pick fifth.
I think it was John Hasford.
It was John Hasford. Which position was he?
John Hasford. John Hasford ended. Was it third? No. It was John Hasford. But I think he finished third.
Third.
I'm not sure.
You are wrong on both counts.
Whoa.
It was Joseph Jamina Mensah. He finished in second place with 5.5 points behind Apimiye Austin and ahead of the combined harvester, Antonia Javon.
Okay.
Next question. This time there's going to be a little bit. No, it should be easier.
Even the easy ones I'm not getting.
Yeah, it should be easy. It should be easy. It should be easy. This one too should be easy.
Okay.
Who is the current general secretary of the African Chess Confederation?
Current general secretary
of the Africa Chess Confederation.
Listen, actually,
you should know this.
No.
He competes in your competition. He has even won an edition of your competition.
It can't be Kamara either.
I'm giving you too many hints.
It can't be Kamara. General secretary.
Yes.
It's not Fumi. I give up.
You give up. You mentioned his name. It was Fumi.
It's Fumi.
It's Fumi.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He won the 2017 edition of the Tema Classic, the first foreigner to win the competition.
That was the Tema Classic.
Yes. All right. Last trivia. I should be increasing the trivia question. Why should I make them 3? Last one. No, I'll add another one. I'll add one more.
You're not being nice.
I want to get at least one correct.
Being nice.
Okay. Who won the 2022 Zone 4.2 Individual Chess Championship Open?
2022.
Yes, last year. Just last year. Zone 4.2 Individual Chess Championship Open.
No idea.
No idea. I am Ortega Mariano from Cape Verde, who was the highest Ghanaian rated player in the Zone 4.2.
4.2 was
Yes.
Edupoko.
Wrong. Francis Akwanda, 4th place. He finished in 4th.
Edupoko didn't play in 4.
He played in Zone 4.2, but he didn't finish in 4th. He finished, I believe, is this 6th or 5th?
Okay.
All right, let me give you one more.
Better make it easy.
Okay, I'm going to make it this easy.
Yeah, make it easy.
In the Tema Classics, there have been only 3 Ghanaian victors. Name them. It's easy.
Only 3?
Yes, Ghanaian champions.
There was
Name
Lionel.
them.
Lionel won the first one.
Who
was the second one? Lionel won the first one. Edupoko won the last one. Second Tema Classic.
Only 3.
Second Tema Classic. Second Tema Classic.
I just wanted to get one correct.
Was it Jamina?
Jamina?
No.
No, it's not Jamina. I'll give you one more chance.
Second Tema Classic. I give up.
Oh.
Second Tema Classic.
First was Lionel.
Yes.
The last one was Kobna Edupoku.
Yes.
The second one in 2016 was won by Francis Akwanda.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was really nice.
You've done your best, man.
I wanted to ask you the second President's Cup, who was the winner?
The second President's Cup. Can't I remember that one?
You can't. That's actually difficult.
The first one was Sri. He was a grandmaster. That I can't forget. Now second was a Nigerian.
This is not actually. I'm not actually asking a question anymore.
Anyway.
But it was Herman Manan
from Cote d'Ivoire.
Yes.
Yes. I'm
Anyways,
growing old. You can't blame me.
I can't believe you.
Yes.
All right, let's put down the trivia book. All right, guys, that is how we wrap up this
Yes.
edition of the Talking Chess podcast with me, Pen of Pen Mason. Mason couldn't make it, unfortunately, but he will definitely be here next time. Thank you so much for your time, Ambrose. I wish to
Thank
see
you
you
too.
next time.
Sooner than you're expecting.
Yes,
All
and
right.
when you come, I'll give you easy
It's better. You
throughout,
know, I like
easy
easy stuff.
throughout.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Thank you
and
too.
yeah, guys, we will come back to you later on with BCA's Maxwell. As so, stay tuned to that. And yeah, this has been PM Chess. Peace.